My game is called Parable Pathway, and it is a game that will be used in a Bible study. And the standards used will actually be language arts reading comprehension standards. Um, Ohio uses these college career readiness anchor standards. So the example for that, I use the reading literature standard, as you can see, because although it is not fictional, um, some of the parable stories would fall under the skills used in reading fiction and literature. So, students will interpret words and phrases as they are used in a text, including determining technical, connotative, and figurative meanings, and analyze how specific language choices shape the meaning, mood, or tone of the text. And that's the overarching standard for reading literature. For grades 5 through 8, which is where it will be presented, I use simply the grade 5 standard so that all students participating will be able to comprehend the material. And some of them may be slightly get a grasp on it a lot easier, but that will not necessarily affect their ability to play the game. So for grade 5, they will determine the meaning of words and phrases as they are used in the text, including figurative language, such as metaphors, similes, and idioms. And this is going to look a lot like understanding the extended metaphors that are used in the parables of the Gospels. The materials needed will be the game board, set of cards, the answer key, and the tokens. And of course, there will be other materials used for the lesson, such as Bibles, to read from. But exclusively for the game, these are the materials that will be used. The rules of the game are that a player will draw a card, read it, and attempt to determine which parable best answers the question. And then they will check the answer on the answer key. So if they're correct, they can move forward to the second closest space with that symbol. As you can see, the symbols would be like something like sheep, coins, wheat, whatever it is that represents the story. If incorrect, the right answer will be read and explained, and the player will move to the closest space with that symbol. So it's vaguely similar in the layout of the board to Candyland, in that the symbols repeat over and over again, and they can be moving one or two spaces, as with those cards you see in Candyland, which I chose because I'm planning on presenting my game at Sycamore Center, and I've played games with them before, and a lot of them really like Candyland, so I was hoping to adapt something they're familiar with so that they can really focus on the content rather than having to learn new rules. And then they will, of course, repeat these until players reach the end of the board. I put player or players because sometimes they like to play for second place. And that is actually very helpful because it makes sure everyone gets time to practice the concepts. There are some modifications that can be done as well. So you can obviously use the same board or make new cards for different subject matters, for different lessons. You could even do it with just one story. You could do it with learning character traits, learning first, second, and third point of view. You could do it for math concepts. One thing that I've seen kids learning is like the keywords and whether they go with addition, subtraction, division, or multiplication. So you could put those symbols on the board, and if you were to say take away, they would move to the subtraction one. So there are ways to adapt it for various subject areas and various concentrations within those. You can also modify the cards to use pictures on those instead of written ones. So maybe matching pictures that go together could be helpful. You could use different languages for students learning English, possibly. You can also adjust the size or shape of materials and use the same words or use the same rules depending on a child's physical development. Maybe if they don't quite have that pincer grip down, you want to do a larger board and have like a stuffed animal or something they can grasp instead of the small game tokens. Thank you very much for listening to my presentation on my game. Thank you, and have a great day.